guys, it's Nina Concepcion here. For those of you who don't know, this is a new business Facebook page of mine. So I'm doing a live for the next 13 days to share with you guys who I am and how I could be of value to you. And what I'll be sharing is the transformative life and business lessons that I've learned to date and how to do life and business in your own values, with your own values, in your utmost integrity and authenticity, showing up, being you, because I truly believe that is the most important thing that we can do for ourselves in order to live a fulfilling and happy life. And today I really want to speak about how do you know how to listen to your intuition? How do you know if it's your intuition? How do you know when it's fear? And again, I can only speak from my own experience, but would love to hear from you guys and how you're able to distinguish between when it's your intuition and when it's your fear or when it's conditioning coming up. And so for me, the ways that I distinguish whether it's my intuition or whether it's something else is I really check in, I feel into myself. So the first step is really that self-awareness, is taking a step back and assessing, how am I feeling about this? Am I resisting something? Do I have resistance coming up? Is there some conditioning in the past that's made me resentful or made me fearful or made me think that something's going to happen simply because it's happened in the past? So that's a big one, because sometimes we resist something, but not because of our intuition, but I really feel like sometimes I resist things because of a past experience. So for example, a past relationship of mine, I was cheated on, and, learning to trust again in a new relationship was fear, because my partner, after the person who had cheated on me, is not someone who cheats. He is someone who I trust completely. So I know that the fear that I had around that, on the feelings that I had around that, actually had nothing to do with my intuition. It had everything to do with my fear and my conditioning around being cheated on in the past. So that was a big one for me, really checking in on myself and checking if there was any resistance when I feel a certain way. Hi Jen, how you doing? We're just talking about intuition and how you know when it's your intuition. So I would love to hear some tips from you and how you know when it's your intuition or when it's fear or when it's conditioning, or if it's something else that you're feeling and maybe it's not your intuition. For me, another way for me to know if it's my intuition is if I'm feeling a pull. So when I feel drawn to something, when it's my intuition, sometimes I'm just pulled to that direction with no logical explanation as to why. An example I like to use is when you go traveling and you walk down a street, sometimes you just want to go down a certain way. You don't know why, but you just feel drawn to go down that street. And then you end up meeting someone, or you end up finding the perfect necklace for you, or you end up finding a gift for someone back at home. And it's just a strong pull that you get. So I've had that a few times in my life, when I decided to take a leap into real estate, when I decided to, again, when I was traveling, I'd go down certain pathways, when I'd be drawn to speak to people, even when I actually met my partner now on Tinder. I felt a pull to go on Tinder for some reason, and it wasn't the first time I'd been on Tinder, but I thought, is it really what I want to do right now? Is this really how I want to meet my partner? And I thought, I feel like I should go on Tinder, and I went on Tinder and ended up meeting my partner. So I feel like when I'm pulled in a certain way, I feel like that's my intuition. Also, something that's really important with me when it comes to my intuition is it takes courage to follow my intuition. I remember when I got offered a job in real estate, I actually deferred uni. And it was the first time in my life that I had to choose between something that was comfortable, that I didn't enjoy, which was my degree in exercise physiology at university, or venturing into the unknown, but with the possibility of being happier. And in my mind, that was a risk back then, but it was a risk I was willing to take. And it took a lot of courage getting outside my comfort zone. Most people would rather stay comfortable and unhappy than get outside their comfort zone with the potential of being more happy or happier. And that's something that, is sometimes your intuition tells you things that aren't logical. And sometimes your intuition tells you things that everyone else is telling you to do the exact opposite. So many people told me to stay in real estate or go back to real estate. But my intuition was telling me to open up my business. So now I'm fast forwarding into a different time of my life. But there are just some things that your soul knows. And there are some things that no matter what anyone else says to you, there's something about it that just, it doesn't sit right for you. There's just a little element of truth that only you can figure out. And that's where I feel the voice of your intuition comes in. And it's such an important topic for me, because I wouldn't be where I am in my life right now if I continued listening to everybody around my life, because there were a lot of decisions in my life that I made for me that a lot of people didn't know about, or a lot of people would tell me to go the other way. But by me actually listening to my intuition and checking in on myself, I would make a decision that was right for me, not a decision that was right for everybody else involved. And it's led me down the path that I'm in at the moment. In a loving relationship. I have a little baby girl. I've launched my online business, and I'm really grateful for where I am in my life at the moment. And that's not to say that there isn't room for improvement. And that's not to say that I'm not progressing to more of that time and financial abundance. However, I'm incredibly grateful because I feel like the most important things in my life, my relationships, having a partner and, starting a family, and having close relationships with a very small number of friends, and having a healthy relationship with my parents and my sister is the highest of my values. And I feel like I do have that. So I agree, listen to soul guidance. Exactly. A lot of people say it's your internal compass, and it really is your internal compass. Only you know when you're going against yourself, and only you know when you're honoring yourself. No one knows that feeling like you do within yourself. And it's also one of those things that it gets stronger the more you listen to yourself. People ask me, how have you become so good at your intuition? And I say to them, because I've spent years developing it. There were a few things back a few years ago that I didn't listen to my intuition, and it was easy, or somewhat easier, to ignore. But then as my life felt like it was going off track, things weren't going according to plan, and I didn't feel in flow. And when you say, I should have listened to my intuition, when life says that to you, Jen's like, love, love, love. Those are those times when I'm like, I knew I shouldn't have done this, or I knew I should have trusted myself. And I swear to myself, next time I will listen. Next time I will do what my intuition says. And because I promised that to myself, next time I do listen to myself and I do trust myself. And sometimes it's hard to know that you trusted your intuition, because the alternate reality is that something goes wrong, right? That's sometimes when we know we've gone against ourselves, because we're like, I should have known, I had a gut feeling, I knew that's what was going to happen. But I truly feel like when you trust your intuition, things come towards you, people come towards you, situations get attracted to you that you wouldn't have gotten if you didn't trust your intuition. And so I think it's important for us to look out for those positive signs as well, not just the negative signs of when we didn't listen to our intuition, although they're both, to me, I think, very important signs with regard to listening and learning our intuition. But it really does get stronger. So for those of you who want to build your intuition, I really encourage you to trust it and listen to it, because the voice gets stronger and it becomes a very noticeable voice. You know very quickly when it's your intuition's talking, when you've learned to listen to it. Yeah, Jen's like, yeah, definitely. And, you know, I'd love to hear from you guys and what are some situations and circumstances where you've trusted your intuition and, you know, times when if you didn't listen to your intuition, then you wouldn't have met the person that you're now with. You wouldn't have met one of your best friends. You wouldn't have landed an amazing client. You wouldn't have set you on the path that you're on now. Because I think the more that we can be conscious of the decisions that we make, the more conscious we can be of the future decisions that we make, and being even more aware of ourselves and being more aware of our intuition. Thank you so much for hopping on. I can see that Jen's so great. I know that she comes on my lives. She's so lovely, and I know that she's recovering as well from being a little bit under the weather. So I hope you're recovering, Jen, and I hope you're having a good night in the warmth because it's so cold in Sydney tonight. But for those of you who are watching the replay, would love to hear how you listen to your intuition and what tips you could give me and other people as well, because we are all here to learn from each other. And yeah, really pay attention to your intuition. I truly feel that if every single person just had 1% more confidence in listening to our own intuition, we would be a lot happier. We would not project a lot of our own stuff onto a lot of people, because a lot of the time what we're telling other people is just really what we want to tell ourselves. I think that we'd have a lot less pressure in a lot of our relationships. We'd have a lot more detachment. We'd have a lot less expectation. And I feel like we'd be able to come from a bigger place of love, because we understand that our choices are our responsibilities, and that at the end of the day, no one can force us to do anything. Everything we decide is our choice. And the more we can come from a place of making the right choice for ourselves at the end of the day, not to say that you're not considering anyone else, but to come from a place that's right for you, I believe that we also empower and encourage other people to do the same for themselves. And I feel that that's where true happiness lies, is honoring ourselves and also being able to love ourselves so that we could love everybody else and share our love with a lot of other people as well. Because if we don't love ourselves, then it's difficult to love others. But yes, I feel like I've spoken a lot, but wanted to share that with you guys. And I hope you're having an amazing night. And as I always like to say, have the confidence to be seen, be you, be heard, be loved, because that means that you can be free. Much love, guys, and I will see you guys tomorrow for the next live, day number 12. Speak to you soon. Bye.